Now, I said earlier that we have made mistakes in the industry on cryptography issues, and you know, overall cryptography could be pretty important, and pretty complex because it's not just the algorithm. You're probably familiar with 802.11, which is the wireless standard. And you're also probably familiar with all the security holes. You know that there's a lot of security holes within within wireless. And it's not because of, wireless is going just through the air. That's why there's a lot of security issues. It's because the group that got together to create this standard, it's an IEEE group that gets together to create the standard. And what happened, what are these standards used for? Well, they're lay out basically how to build this type of functionality and build a product from the standard. So you come up, the IEEE comes up with a standard, and then the different vendors can come up with their own product, but it has to follow the standard so there could be interoperability. So in the 802.11, the group that got together maybe didn't have the right guy in the room, didn't have somebody who is a cryptographer, understands what actually needs to be in place. So what happened was that they chose the wrong algorithm first. They chose RC4, which is a stream cipher that should not be used in this type of situation, because stream ciphers inherently have a characteristic where you could flip a bit and the receiver wouldn't know about it. So they're within our WEP, which is used for the standard for encryption, it was proven that you could actually flip some bits and the receiver didn't know. The other thing about the standard is that it didn't say that the key had to be continuously changed out. And so, the vendors just go by the standard. What do they know about cryptography? And so that's why, a lot of our wireless devices and access points and all of this have the same key used over and over and over again. And it also didn't say that the keys needed to be automatically refreshed, like through a protocol. So a lot of the keys just stayed the same, and it would require some type of a manual update. And if I'm an administrator and we have like 1,000 users who have wireless laptops, am I going to continually go to each one of those laptops and manually going to change the key? No. I'm going to do it once, it's going to be a headache, and I'm not going to do it anymore. So the weaknesses are that they chose the wrong algorithm. They chose a stream cipher that can allow some bits to actually be changed, and they didn't specify that the key has to be changed out. It should be changed out for each message or each packet. And the other thing was that they didn't say that the initialization vector had to be unique for each packet. So what the vendors did was just follow the standard. You had the same key over and over and over again, and then they used the same initialization vector too many times, which came up with patterns. So then you're able to break WEP and get access to the wireless traffic that had been encrypted. These aren't all of the security issues that happened with WEP, but this is what we're talking about. We're talking about keys, we're talking about algorithms, and we're talking about initialization vector. And because they had all of these problems, what individual vendors had to do was come up with their own security solution. So one came up with basically they're Band-Aids. One vendor comes up with a Band-Aid to provide more protection on the wireless data. Another one comes up with a different Band-Aid. Another one comes up with a different Band-Aid solution. So when they all come up with their own thing, their own solutions, they can't talk. They're no longer interoperable, which is why you have a standard in the first place. So that's why when you actually go and buy a wireless card, you should buy the access point from the same company because they had to come up with their own security solutions. When we get into telecommunications, we're going to talk about the new solutions that IEEE has come out to address these security issues.